No, it's all right.
You need someone, Bob?
So he's talking about it.
Oh, what a help you've been!
I'll be right back. I have to park.
I'm not waiting.
I'll go on the next boat.
We're off.
I'll go on the next boat.
I wish you could get some other boats to take these people from my marina. I don't see any other boat. The captain kid has already gone over.
It will not return.
No, it will not.
You'll have a nice wife at least.
What?
You sure you would? Hi, Colin. How are you? Why don't you, I've got some.
That's why I was saying hey back there.
Well, we're going to have a boat to back to the over.
Tell them to pick you up in the water if they can.
And in the Arctic too, right, Paul? When they have people lost in the Antarctica? If they have the orange and yellow.
How about the pirate sign that warns everybody to stay away?
What?
The pirate sign.
That is what my grandfather had on his steam yacht in 1890. Because we were the fences for the pirates,
Right.
The most famous being Captain Kidd. But we had Steve Bonnet, the French pirate on the island, and Spanish pirates that burned the second manor house to the ground in 1728.
You got
The
10%.
present house is the fourth manor house. The first was Gardiner's Fort, square block house. The second was a beautiful Queen Anne manor house. The third was a Georgian house built before the Revolution in 1750. And this is the fire there. We owned all this land. And the keeper of the fire lit the fire. And when they saw the flame on the island, they sent the boat over to get a doctor. No telephone. Still only out of the street. Surrounded by salt water, we have 5 freshwater streams. That's the kids' adventure calendar. This is like a beautiful thing. See the American flag flying up. And in the pond to the left was our babysitter's house, the witch Goody Garlic. The first woman ever convicted of witchcraft in America was our babysitter in 1655. And that was 10 years before the famous Salem witch trials of Copper Manor.
These young men will tie up when we get there, Bob. They're ready.
She buried on the island, Mom? I know. These men will do what? These men, Gene. These men will do what?
They're going to tie up when we get in.
Oh, which one?
These 3 young fellows right here, they're all ready. That's why they're very gracious.
Can they get some inside, Peter?
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Well, she was asking my son the other day, and she had just married to have to let them know the high school and who his mother and daughter.
Let's go in and see.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, thank you.
Hi. Cleaner though.
Your house is a landmark over there,
Yeah,
but
it's a landmark.
Kathy Tennis told me that she went over there and started
Oh.
bothering you.
She called me, said, "Oh, a beautiful place." I get much letters about that house. Not about me, but about the house.
It's a wonderful house. John Tyler.
And one of them married a Tyler.
Honorable Sir William Howe.
This house is only
Did
got
you
10 years.
buy this place? It was all Oyster Point before it was Oyster.
Kids' money.
East Hampstead, get that one.
Yeah, I got that
That's a
one
mistake
wrong.
though.
The maps from London. They didn't know.
Northampton is correct because they call the North Sea Northampton. Northampton, correct. Indian town. U.S. Trust.
Who is that? That's
Charles V. Wrong way,
this fellow is no doubt one of the gardeners. Yeah.
They could be the first two, but
We were not very patriotic, but we were survivors. That's what I did. That's how we held the bush. You understand? We were unlike Senator Claiborne Fell's family, who were completely on the side of King George III. They had to flee to Canada. They came back to Fort Ticonderoga on Lakeside Lake. And they lost Pelham Valley, which is between Greenwich, Connecticut, and the Bronx. And they lost it all. In 1783, Washington seized it as a Tory estate. However, Nathaniel Gardiner, his son, fought in the Continental Army under Washington. I'm very proud to have the Order of Cincinnati given by Washington to him, you see, while his father was entertaining Major Andre, the British spy, who made Benedict Arnold defect and was shot at West Point. So I have a glass from John Andre because Abram Gardiner and he were such buddies, they would drink together in the house, which is now the Ladies' Village Improvement Society, the Brown House in East Hampton. That was my great-great-grandfather's house, and it was a hotbed of Tories in the Revolution. And the son of the owner of the house, who was fighting in the Continental Army under Washington, came back and stayed in the house with his father and went to the secret room up in the attic, which I used to play in. And there was a trap door, and you slid the lintel, you went downstairs, and inside was a secret room with air vents that went to the eaves of the house. And that's where Nathaniel Gardiner was kept. Well, Major Andre was not head of the British intelligence for nothing in 1776. And after Nathaniel went back to his regiment in New Hampshire, Major Andre said to his buddy, Colonel Abram Gardiner, he said, you know, you outfitted a royalist regiment, Tory regiment in New London, and you paid for the uniform and outfitted and gave horses. You spent all that money for King George. So I want to tell you something. I knew your son was treated in a secret room here, but I never arrested him because you've been such a loyal subject of His Majesty George. So he escaped. Now that Mary Gardiner did cruel work done in the 1700s here. And this is another chair of Abram Gardiner the Tories, you see. And here is my great-great-grandmother, Sarah Griswold. She was the granddaughter of Matthew Griswold, the governor of Connecticut, painted by Waldo, and here is the home pond on Gardiner's Island. And here is the king that made our family fortune, gave us the tens and tens of thousands of acres, and this is the original portrait of King Charles I. We got nothing from any King George. If you come in, I see the stragglers coming in. Just come right in. Oh, it's a shame I didn't.
I'm okay.
Here's another story here.
I'm okay.
Yes. There was this beautiful, good-looking man, Charles I, and he's the one that gave us the island and gave us half the township of Southampton, because there was no East Hampton yet. And we gardeners then owned half the township between Wainscott now, East Hampton, and Eastport. The East Mauritius, you see. And then East Hampton was founded, but we were 9 years on this island before anybody lived in East Hampton. So now that this is part of East Hampton, we are definitely the founding family of East Hampton. But Charles I's head was already chopped off when East Hampton was founded, you see. No longer was it under Charles I, whereas we were under Charles I on this island. And then when Wyandanche's favorite daughter was abducted by the Narragansett Indians, Lion Gardner went up and paid £100 for her, which was an enormous amount in those days. And he returned Heatherflower, Princess Mamoni, to her father. And for that, we got 40,000 acres, most of Brookhaven, right across from the Sound to the Paria Beach, right through the Mauritius. We owned the whole thing right across. Then we acquired Smithtown. We sold it to the Smiths, and the business of the bull is a lot of bull. The original deed for Smithtown is not in Richard Smith's name, but in Lion Gardner. And here is the signature of the great Chief Wyandanche, Lion Gardner's friend and blood brother. They cut their veins and put them together. And when Wyandanche was killed by the Narragansett Indians, the letter of Lion Gardner to John Winthrop, the first governor of Massachusetts Bay, is absolutely pathetic. He said, "Your Excellency," because the governor, Winthrop, he writes from here, "I am desolate. I have not only lost my best friend, but my brother, the great Chief Wyandanche, who'd been poisoned by the Narragansett Indians and dropped dead." This is, you see, precious tortoiseshell. All Stuart portraits in St. James's Palace are framed in tortoiseshell and ebony. This is the original portrait, 1635, by Daniel Meitens, the court painter for Charles I, before Van Dyck, who did the famous portrait of Charles II with the spaniels, the Charles II spaniels. Charles II, his son, founded North and South Carolina and called Charleston, South Carolina, after himself. But this was the father of the founder of Carolina. So this island is older than North and South Carolina. And it's 3 kings before Williamsburg was even built. We were 3rd generation Americans on this island when William and Mary built Williamsburg. So there's a benchmark. It's the oldest estate intact on the continent of North America today. So you historians, that you could put down as fact. It's the only Charles I grant, a lordship and manor intact today, and I'm Vice President of the Colonial Order of Lords of Manors, and I'm the only Lord of the Manor that still has the manor. The others are much more recent, and they've all been broken up. Livingston Manor, which was James II, after Charles II, not only Charles I, but after Charles II, James II, and that is now the Borscht Circuit. It's where Jenny Grossinger's little resort was, where Elizabeth Taylor met Eddie Fisher. And, you know, it's hardly Livingston Manor anymore. That is John Lion Gardner, the 7th Lord of the Manor, and his wife, Sarah Griswold, the granddaughter of Matthew Griswold, Governor of Connecticut. And there is the home pond on Gardiner's Island. And this is, they are very good looking. And this is a piece of cloth of gold material given by Captain Kidd to my ancestress, Mrs. Gardner, and green and red silk. You see the gold in it. Given in 1697 to Mrs. Elizabeth Gardiner, wife of the third proprietor of Gardiner's Island, after a dinner of suckling pig in the manor house, just after Kidd had buried 24 chests of the Kidd treasure, which you will see the exact spot it was dug up. In 1690, it was only on the island for 2 years. In 1697, it was dug in. And when John Gardiner, my ancestor, was standing by, seeing the sailors dig in the 24 chests, hundreds of diamonds, rubies, sapphires, pearls, gold, silver. Can you imagine? He said to John Gardiner, family tradition said, if I come back for this treasure and it's not here, I'll have your head or your sons. You did not fool around with Captain Kidd. He was the governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony from the Crown, and he received the Kidd treasure in Washington when John Gardiner brought it up, and he sent it over to England, and William and Mary, just let me talk. William and Mary auctioned it off in London, and it paid 80% of the construction of the Royal Naval Hospital for wounded sailors. So the Kidd treasure from Gardiner's Island built a wounded sailors hospital in Greenwich, outside of London. Kidd was hanged at Cornhill in London for beating the sailor over the head with a bucket, not for piracy. They brought up piracy, and it was a completely political trial. They brought up piracy, and his letters of marque from the Lords of the Admiralty, which would have absolved him from piracy, disappeared at his trial. The moment he was executed, lo and behold, they found the letters of marque. He was a vestryman of Trinity Church, very respected, and when we Gardeners went to Trinity Church in New York, when we were in the city, our house was on Beaver Street, and we were next door neighbors in Manhattan to Captain Kidd. And he passed the plate on Sunday when we put the coin in the dish. And he was our friend, and that's why he buried the treasure on the island. And then it was, under English law, in 1699, it was long after the Dutch had left in 1664. My ancestor, Lion Gardiner, never heard of New York, never. During his entire lifetime, the city on Manhattan was New Amsterdam, and the province was the New Netherlands, which is now the state of New York. And Elizabeth Gardiner, born on this island, was the first English baby born in the New Netherlands. So we are the first English family in the state of New York. No one over. And we're the first white family of Connecticut. Two of the first original colonies. We are the first family in East Hampton. And Julia was born on Gardiner's Island, which originally was not part of East Hampton, but later annexed, and was an independent lordship of manor. And my father's full aunt was First Lady of the United States in 1845. I come from a long line of old marrying bachelors, and they married younger women. And my cousin, Harrison Tyler, who's with me still, he's leaving this afternoon to go back to Virginia to the great Tyler estate at Sherwood Forest. And my great aunt added 2 wings to it and built a ballroom on it where she did the Virginia Reel. And during the war between the states in the 1860s, in the Civil War, she became more Virginian than the Virginians. She was born a damn Yankee on this island. But she became so Virginian, she even said house and about the way the Virginians do. She spoke perfect Virginian accent. American women are marvelous actresses. I know a lady from Brooklyn who is the Premier Duchess of Ireland, the Duchess of Leinster. Well, she doesn't say, if you burl oysters in Earl, there's Earl. And she doesn't say the oily boy gets the worm out of the toilet. She has no Brooklyn accent whatsoever. She speaks with the most wonderful upper-class English accent, not Cockney like Leach, Lloyd Stoyles, the rich and famous. But she speaks with the way a Duchess should speak. But she's from Brooklyn, so I call her the Brooklyn Duchess. But American women are born actresses. They are marvelous. Do you remember Vivian Leigh, who was the English actress, took the part of Scarlett O'Hara? She had a perfect Southern accent in the movie. When I met Vivian Leigh, my dear, she's very British. There's nothing Southern about her. She acquired that accent just for the movie. It was extraordinary. People could do it. You either have the ear or you haven't. I happen to have the ear. And I had my English grandmother who said, "You sound like a damn Yankee." And my American grandmother said, "You sound like a damn limey." So I couldn't be good with either grandmother on each side of the Atlantic. I ended up with an accent east of Bermuda. Well, anyway, that's that. These are all family, the mantles from, you see, 18th century, with the caveatrids, the lion, the Raramam, these Wedgwood candelabra, you see, waterproof glass. And the desk in the living room, McIntyre from Boston. Yes, the Garden Museum is not old at all. Family was built in the 1900s, an imitation Venetian palace, built with money from the New York Stewart's department store. And Jack Gardner, the husband of Mrs. Gardner, Isabella Gardner, was a cotton broker born in Manchester, England, where the Beatles come from. So he was hardly an old Bostonian, in fact. No, we were the first Boston Garden. We built the fort to protect Boston on Reed's Hill and Bunker Hill, which 150 years later became famous with the Battle of Bunker Hill. But my ancestor in the 1630s built the original fort there, and they were called Gardiner's Forts in those days. Then he went to Saybrook, and then he came here, and then he died in East Hampton, the first man.
Portrait here?
Is my aunt Sarah Giudice Gardner. That which was about 82 by Mrs. Albert Curtin, Adele Curtin. Her place is now the Osorio. On the way to all the things, you know, they do to them. And it changes the inside. And this has really lovely wildflower, so delicious flavor. Love it. And it changes the inside. And this has really lovely wildflower, so delicious flavor. Love it. And we have the latest diesel generators, the latest batteries. We have the latest oil burners, and that's why the place is worth $125 million. It's the underpinnings that you never think of living on the mainland. We bring in $40,000 worth of oil every year. I'll show you. This 9 miles to the nearest stop. We pay for roads, East Hampton roads, and we have 20 miles of the dirt roads here. And we pay for fire, and we have no fire protection. We pay for police, and we'd be murdered here before the police could arrive. Don't you understand? It's taxation without representation. Is what the Boston Tea Party was about. Anyway, isn't this interesting?
Yes.
Very. See, you don't understand what is underneath having to live here the way we do and have the toilets flush and everything work. It's all made here, not from East Hampton or Long Island. In another country. It's so fascinating to have a thing that you step back almost 4 centuries in America. Do you understand this story?
Do you stay out for your full 2 weeks each stint?
Oh, it's not more. It's more than 2 weeks. I mean, it's divided up different. Half for the year each for my sister and me. Now, the Golettes are really the guests of my sisters because there are only two heirs to this island.
Yes,
Me
you
and
and your
my
sister.
sister. And when my sister wanted to come, when she's allowed the Golettes to be her guests, and when she wanted to come here, you won't believe it. Mr. and Mrs. Golette said, "It is inconvenient." And they are her guests.
My word.
I mean, you don't believe
That doesn't seem possible.
Look at the break.
Look at that lovely board.
Look at the break. Look at this. All out of the Bostwick Virgin Oak Forest peg from the 1660s. Look at this site.
Great.
Look at this site from the 1660s.
And it doesn't
100
leak.
years before the revolution. Look at the frame.
Gorgeous.
All
Uh-huh.
put together with frame. Look at the latest track. But that's what you have to do.
Great.
Just
Yeah.
operate. But this is what it's all about. I didn't have to have
Sure, you can't operate a wheel.
some of these beams are all about this is it. You can see this was hewed out of the Bostwick forest at all pegs. It's the framing, you see. Cut twice or so much. 900, that's 1,800.
That's good building, but planning renovation,
Not previous, but not much. That the Brown Boys' house is less allowed to do. They had houses down in Freetown, under the bridge at East Hampton. And here you see the remains of the stone wall. On the left, see the stone?
Yep.
All done by the slaves.
Shades of New England.
But it's not like East Hampton. You don't see stone walls in East Hampton. Also.
No, I say shades of New England because I'm from New England originally.
But this, there's not much in Southern California like this stone wall.
There is.
Have you been out on Robbins Island? Is there anything?
Yes. More than 2 Robbins Island would fit into this forest alone. And it went for 9 million too. Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
And this is more than 10 times with a luxurious manor house, with electric light plants, with oil, everything magnificent oil burners, the latest. This is worth 125 million.
And you think the Golets just want it for the money?
Well, because they're going to develop, and they bought my nephew's share, the half share, out for $1 million. The name is Golette.
Golette.
Pronounced because Goulet is a singer from Canada,
Yes.
a French Canadian, spelled differently. G-O-U. Gou. This is G-O-E, like go, stop and go. Golette. No. Wait a minute. I don't know where we're up.
What? Well, it's nice to know there's one rainforest that's not going to be demolished, right?
So this has never been cut. These are
No, inside. There's some oaks 800 years old, pre-Columbian in the center. They're second only to the redwood. Do you notice the change in the atmosphere?
much cooler.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, it's lovely. Very lovely. How about the tick population?
Plenty.
Plenty, oh dear.
Rocky Mountain. Look at the deer! Did you see him?
Oh, so adorable. Little baby. He's just a baby.
Well, what do you think of the island? Are you just enjoying people?
Oh no. I'm enchanted. I'll never forget them.
Look at that oak.
Isn't that lovely?
A very small acorn. Now that was big at the time of the revolution. That's the slowest growing oak there is. Quercus alba. That is the white oak. The white oak. The pin oak, the red oak grow much faster but don't last as long. $500 million on that 600,000. I lost. Nobody's fault was mine. That was 4 times the 600,000. I lost, and it was my fault. I made 40 million, and I couldn't have made it without losing 2.5. You see, that's where people don't understand.
Yeah, that is hard to fathom.
You see, because you wouldn't have ever taken the chance to make the 40 had you not lost the 200 million. And had you been prudent and held the 600,000, I would have lost a fortune. Because 600,000 58 years ago is not 600,000.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And I would have said, no, I didn't lose a cent. You see, I still have the 600,000. That would have been untrue.
You are a smart man.
But you want, no, it's not smart. I'm just logical. And I believe in inflation. It's here to stay.
Do you really think so?
I know it is. Because the Roman emperors did it, Louis XIV did it, Queen Victoria did it, and if you don't think Bush is doing a mistake, they're all doing it. It was recovered only here 2 years, 1697 to 1699. It was only here 2 years. Hundreds of diamonds, rubies, sapphires, 24 chests. Brought in 1 mile from the beach, from the Super Antonio, Captain Kidd's vessel, and dug in there. And here's Captain Kidd's marker, this stone. So many feet in there, so many degrees down in the valley. 24 chests were dug in. And he told John Gardner, who watched them dig it in, if I come back for this treasure that's not here, I will have your head or your son. You did not fool around with Captain Kidd. When he was hanged for beating a sailor over the bucket in 1699 in London, Cornhill, not for piracy, for murdering a sailor. They brought up piracy at the trial, at the political trial. And he said, I'm not a pirate. I have letters of marque from the Lords of the Admiralty allowing me to stop French ships on the high seas, which he did. And the treasure from the French ships was buried right there, back in it. Her Majesty was graciously permitted me to photograph her copy of the picture of the sea, and there it was, just like mine, in the same handwriting, signed by the Earl of Delaware, the Governor of Massachusetts. 6 diamonds short. The Earl had I love it. Crooked politicians have not changed since 1699 till today. Yeah.
Would you tell us about your ring?
Oh yes, but this definitely finished the big treasure because that had nothing to do with the big treasure. I mean, people think that it's what the stylish prize. We were actually sent these for many, many prizes. We found we could not join these things, so we joined. They burnt down the second manor house, pirates. So we found we could not beat them, okay? So we then started to be thankful for them. And when we read that they were hanged by the neck, we knew where to dig. And some of the sloops came to us, and these diamonds are from snuff boxes. From Spanish times, pirates. They're the old cut. They're blue-white. Beautiful color. You see? But they're the old cut, very high, much more higher than they would be today. And they were from the noble snuff box. We have two bald eagles on the island. Same eagles that are on the coin.
Aha, the same ones. It's really great.
Nowhere near that. I know you think the island is about 1 mile long. It isn't. It's 27 miles around. And it would take you many days to see. I'm only giving you a few high points. We're nowhere near the high cliffs.
Got that?
We haven't got to that, but quite a ways from here. I know you think everything should be right here, right here. The cliff here, the hanging chick here, right, they'll be right back at the house. Can't do it, takes a long time.
That shows we pay attention to your story.
No. I wish I had the breath and the energy to do it, each and every one of you separately.
You should have a recording.
Now this is the marshmallows, pink marshmallow.
There's a wild turkey.
Wild turkey.
Oh, really?
You saw it?
Oh, really? I just look at him. Oh, how jolly. He's scaring him.
They say they never fly. They never fly, they say. You know that now, don't you? They never fly.
Oh, darling.
You saw it fly, didn't you? And ornithologists will swear to you they never fly. You can laugh at the ornithologist with a degree. Here.
Oh, the two of them, how darling. They've just outgrown their spots, it looks like.
You're not disappointed then, in the Dear.
Look at the swans. How lovely.
Where my great-grandmother had a Chinese pagoda, Japanese pagoda. And they would have the slave coachman drive out with a silver tea set and set up the tea things in the pagoda. The pagoda has long since fallen down. And the ladies of the house would come out here, do embroidery, write poetry, read books. The men would be out swimming or hunting or fishing. And there are 600 mute swans on the lakes on Gardiner's Island. This is Bostwick Pond, and look at the hundreds of white swans in England. Every spring they have a ceremony called swan upping. And all her nobles' estates, like the Duke of Norfolk, the Duke of Marlborough, the Duke of Northumberland, they all have to go out and engrave on the beak of the swan E2. Elizabeth II, the present reigning queen, because she owns all the swans with her. The old story is like there is in Suffolk County water. We should make it like Mountain Valley water, make a fortune out of it.
That's a good idea.
I always come here. You could never do this in America. Where's your life?
Perfectly good.
I always drink out of the stream the way the Indians did. The freshwater streams here made land gardeners say it was the island of life, not the island of death, which was the Indian name for the island. Manchonak, the island of death, because there'd been a prehistoric battle here between the Montaukets and the hereditary enemy tribe of Connecticut, the Pequots, that Lion Gardner had fought in Connecticut. So he was smart to come over here to make friends of the chief of the Long Island Indians, the hereditary enemy of the Pequots that he had fought in Connecticut.
Did they canoe over from Montauk?
Oh, they lived, because they were settled here. There were a lot of Indians. Look at all the ferns here, beautiful ferns. They're marvelous mushrooms, red ones, quite edible, not poison. All kinds of sponges and tobacco palms that don't exist anywhere else in the world.
That's it?
That's it.
Sorry to take a picture now. I don't want to. Money, but then I was off the island.
Right to see where it's forked and bound together with ropes, and that was to make it secure. So when a heavy man was hanged, the lateral branch would not break. They put him on a chair, they kicked the chair out from under him, and he had his neck broken. We did that to several men. One was a Bennett that killed his brother on the island. The Lord of the Manor had him executed for murder. He had 12 men, jury. They found him guilty. He was taken away and hanged here. And hangings were a great event because there was no TV. And all the old ladies and all the children and the men on the estate came to the hanging. And I can't say this. Ladies turn away. But the doctor knows that when a man is hanged, he gets an erection and an orgasm. And all the old ladies, the grandmothers, they haven't seen one for years. He's carved in it, and those are artificial wood duck nests.
Yes, there are a lot of freshwater ponds.
Oh yes, that's the point.
Yeah.
We could have had Fisher's Island or Shelter Island. This was the only one with the water running. That's why Lion Gardner took it. The streams.
One goes into another then.
Yes, the streams. Yeah. Because he didn't have to even have a windmill to pump it. He had fresh water, but surrounded by the salt water of the ocean.
Yeah.
Don't you see? It was
It's like
the island.
Montauk has
It's
that.
like, but he was an island. Know so little
About history.
about what's really going on.
Yeah.
Like no kids. And so many people say, oh, you need this to the nephew or do that. I'd say to them, are you citizens of the United States? Did you ever hear of a thing called an inheritance tax? No, we never did. People that live here and don't even think of it. Isn't it incredible?
Well,
See, I know Americans are absolutely. You might think they were foreigners that had nothing to do with America. They don't know the first thing about the laws of this land.
that's right.
I have to live by the laws of America. Don't you see? But the average person, they don't know them. And there's so many things they don't know. For instance, the Queen of England is the richest woman in the world. 6 billion, 800 million. Over 1 billion of it is in New York real estate. And she pays no income tax. She's the only English woman that is not a citizen. You said no.
That I didn't know.
No, of course you didn't, because you never thought. My wife is a British subject. She has a British passport. Think, how is it possible that the Queen of England is a British subject? My wife is a subject of the Queen.
Right.
She cannot be a subject of herself, dear.
No, of course not.
Of course not. Now you realize.
Yeah.
So she has a diplomatic passport, she's head of state, but she's not an English woman. And she pays no income tax, no inheritance tax, and no capital gains. That's why she's so rich. But these are the things that are obvious when you really think it out. Woman said, I said, what would you use for this? I never thought of that. Oh, you have a royal grant, you don't pay taxes, do you? I said, you think any private estate in the United States of America does not pay taxes? The only thing that don't pay taxes, churches, schools, and museums. But, you understand? World War II, look at it. The highest...
I hate to get my camera.
Oh, no, that's all right.
Can we get off?
Yes, definitely. You can see it. Oh, I'm highest point of the island. Whale Hill Tower.
Pretty impressive. Right, it's like that. There's no way it's possible.
No, in New Mexico. Mimi has all millionaire clients. It's what she deals with. Funny how when I'm in her place, I stay in her house.
Okay. Hope you got the buildings in the background. Oh, I hope it's safe.
Oh, you're going to stay.